Hello friends, I'm so glad you clicked on this video today. I am so excited to show you what I made with some more of these ceiling fan light cover globe things. Okay, remember we made bells a few weeks ago? Well, we're gonna flip them up this way this week and create some beautiful home decor. Let's get started. Okay, here are two of the little globes that I picked up at Habitat for Humanity. We're only going to be using one of them in today's video, but first of all, we're going to give them a good scrub. We're going to use a little dish soap and some hot water. Anytime you pick something up at a thrift store, you know how it can be a little dirty, grungy, dusty. These look like they had been in someone's garage, so I'm just going to take my little scrub brush, some dish soap, and rinse it off and make it sparkling clean. It's all nice and dry, and let's get started. I also have this old bed spring that I picked up off Facebook Marketplace, a little chunk of wood, a little wood round, and of course a spindle. I'm going to sand this spindle just a little bit with my finger sander in just the places where I feel like it needs to be sanded or how I want it. When you start to sand spindles, you just do it to your preference. If you want to sand it all down, fine. If not, then don't. I love the look of a little bit of that wood showing through on these spindles. Okay, I'm going to take an old chippy brush and I'm going to give this a light coat of paint. A super heavy, it's not even a dry brush, it's just a light-handed coat of paint. So you can see how this looks here. I love this look. And then I'm going to take a fine grit sandpaper and just very, very gently sand around a little bit. I don't want to take off all that paint. Then I'm going to take some clear wax and seal it up because I used some chalk paint. So we want to be sure that we seal that up and then buff off all the excess. It's going to give it a nice finish, and it's not going to allow for anything to mess up our paint job. Now, once we're all finished with that part, now we're going to work on the little part that's going to help it sit in our spring and hold our little globe. Oh, we're going to work on our spring first. I didn't like all of that turquoise paint that was on there. I do love the color turquoise, by the way, but I just didn't like, it was just a little too bright for this project. So I took the sander and tried to sand most of it off. I didn't really care if all of it was sanded off or not, but I just got a little bit of it off, so it wasn't so bright. Then I took sandy blonde and painted this little block all with sandy blonde, and while it wasn't completely dry, it was almost dry, but not completely, I went ahead and got out my weathered wood, and I'm just going to dry brush on it a little bit. And I didn't mind that it was still a little bit wet so that it blended in a little bit better, because I didn't want it to be quite as dark as the weathered wood, so this way it blended the colors a little bit better. I did it across the top and along all four sides. Then when it was completely dry, making sure it's all completely dry, I am going to take my little finger sander and very lightly, very gently, just give it a little sand. Just to, I don't know, it just sort of blends the colors in a little bit better. Then I'm going to take the IOD Flora and Vine stamp. These are beautiful stamps. Now the first time I used it, I already had taken my fine grit sandpaper and, gone over it to get off the, I call it the new. And so I chose this stamp, and I'm just going to take my black ink pad, and I do store it upside down like that so all the ink stays at the top of the sponge pad part. And then I'm just going to lightly tap, 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 tap until I get the part of the stamp saturated with the ink. And then I didn't see any excess on there to wipe off. So, and I'm just going to press down, holding with one hand, pressing with the other, not being careful not to move it because we do not want that to smear. Now, I have noticed that the newer IOD stamps feel like they're raised up a little bit higher, so it's a little easier not to get the ink all over everywhere. when you're trying to ink up the pad. Let me know if you have IOD stamps and you have the newer ones versus the older ones. Let me know if you are experiencing that same thing. Now I'm just going to just keep adding ink to different parts of this stamp, and just stamp it all around the four corners and across the top. I'm not going to do the bottom because it's going to be sitting on the bottom. I want to dry this part because I don't want to smear it when I set that up like that. Then I'm just going to keep going all the way around, just like you see me doing here. I love these little florals and nature. It's going to be spring in a few months, and I will be so glad. I am not a cold weather girl. That's why I live in Texas, because we don't really have that much cold weather here. So I do love just in the spring when all the new life starts to bloom out and everything starts turning green and all the flowers start blooming, and you just, I love all the seasons, but I don't know, it's just like new life, and it just makes me smile. And here we go. This is what it almost looks like, a little box, but it is just a chunk of wood. All right, that's all done. I'm going to very lightly, very, very lightly sand because I don't want it to be so stark, but I also don't want to take the ink off. But I didn't want it to be quite so stark. And I didn't think that the gray would actually be dark enough. So that's why I used the black and then just sanded it a tiny bit. Now I do have a little bit of clear wax on this rag, so I'm putting a little clear wax on there, but not on the top because we're going to have to adhere this, and I don't want that wax to impede the adhesion of the glue. So just like you've seen me do many, many times on this channel, but if you haven't and you're new, welcome. We're glad you're here. I like to drill a hole in each piece and have a little wooden skewer or dowel rod or something to stick in there because we don't like our projects to come apart. So this is a better way to adhere it and make sure that it is going to stay put. Now I'm using the Titebond Quick and Thick because it is my favorite glue of choice, and I'm just going to smear it there with my little spatula. I'm going to stick it in there and press it down and hold it firmly, and just wait. Wait. I should have left the clicking of my nails in there. Okay, now I really wasn't digging the bark on the outside of this with the look of this project that I'm going for. Now when I get all finished, you really can't see this piece that much, but I just peeled that bark off. It came off super easy. I'm just going to sand it a little bit, and then I'm going to do that same method with the white paint that I did on the spindle. Just giving it a little sand, making it a little smooth, refining it a little bit, kind of like Jesus does us. You know, we give him our old broken down chunky self, and he peels off all the wood and all the scraps and sands us down and makes us smooth and helps us out. We have to give it to him first though, right? Yes, surrender it. So I'm not sure this piece of wood surrendered itself to me, but I bought it, so it's mine, right? Okay, enough silliness. I'm going to glue this, just simply glue it. I didn't feel any need to use the dowel method because there was quite a bit of surface here, and it's wood on wood. The other was wood on wood too, but this is just a short little piece. So I felt confident that this would stay glued down good enough. So we're going to set that aside and let that dry for a little bit. And now that that's dried for probably about 15 minutes, we will start on our next portion, which I probably should have put this on before I put the top piece on. I had to finagle it a little bit to get it in there, but it worked. And then we're going to just simply put some glue onto the base of our globe and put it on our spindle. Hold it down firmly for a few seconds and then set it aside to let it dry. Now that it's dry, it's been over there for probably about 30 or 45 minutes, I'm going to take some Titebond and put in that little indentation right there and add some jute twine. This is a thicker jute twine. It's the one that I used when I did the bells. If you haven't seen that video, those bells turned out so amazing. I was so pleased with them. I gave a couple of them away as gifts, and I kept 3 of them for myself in my decor at Christmas, for Christmas, and everyone that came to my house during the Christmas season just went on and on about how adorable, how pretty, and how neat they were. So just go get some. You can get them at thrift stores or Habitat for Humanity that has a ton of them. Okay, I just made this little finger bow with some ribbon that I had in my stash. I'm going to glue a little piece of twine right there because I don't know why, because I didn't have one on this bow. I took this bow off of a previous project. It just was a little tag that had some music notes on it. You could embellish your bow however you want to. Sometimes I like to just have a plain bow, but I really wanted to put this little embellishment on here. Now this one was just plain with no light, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like with a taller, skinny pillar candle in it, and then just the tea light.
Let's take a break, because you know, after doing hair all day or being in the craft cottage, working with clay or painting or sanding, these hands get tired. Well, when Bob and Brad, let's get their names right, reached out to me and wanted to send me a hand massager, I was like, of course. I have a foot massager and I have one that rolls up and down my back, but let's see how this hand massager works. We're gonna try it out together for the first time right here. First thing we do is we read the instruction booklet, right? No, we don't. We just figure it out. It's there if you hit a snag and can't figure out how to do things. Okay, tell me in the comments below if that's how you do things or if you read the instructions first. But it comes with this nice little velvety bag. It's not really velvet, but it's soft. And you can put all your things inside it. Let's get all the things out. Of course, it comes with a charger because it is cordless. Yeah, it's cordless, rechargeable. I always put a little tag on my cords, which I've already done, that says what the cord goes to. My mama taught me that. It came with this, and nothing in here tells me what this is, but I don't need any instructions. Yeah, that feels pretty good right there. We could be done with the video right here, except that I'm having to do the work. We don't want to have to do the work. It comes with some gloves because you can put on your favorite, this happens to be mine, hand cream, put on the gloves, and have a lotion hand massage. We're not going to do that one today. We're just going to do a regular hand massage. Okay. It's shaped like your hand. Either hand can go in. So you can put your hand in this way, or you put your hand in this way. Obviously, you put your hand in where your thumb goes. Oh, there's like little finger slots in there. Okay, this is gonna be good, guys. Okay, it has your on-off button. It has your mode button. It has your intensity button. Mode button, intensity button, and it has heat. So it heats up, has infrared heat in it. Okay. How about we get started? Okay, hand is all in there. We're ready to go. We're just gonna push the power button, get it on. You have to hold it down for a few seconds. It's on. We're gonna choose our mode. Oh, I can feel it. Okay, it's tightening up on my hand. There's not a whole lot of pressure, but I can handle a lot of pressure. And now let's see how the heat feels. It's moving around in there. Let's see how the heat feels. Let's see how quickly it heats up and if I can feel the heat. All right, it's already starting to heat up. I can feel it heating up. That was quick. That was within seconds. It began to heat up. I wish I could show you what the inside of this thing is doing. It is very similar to all of those mechanical massagers. This is more like a pulse that it's doing now. It feels really good. I'm gonna up the intensity a little bit. Okay, it relaxed on me. Okay, here we go. Okay, I like more intensity. This is a little more intense. It's squeezing it a little tighter, and I like that. Oh, this is wonderful. This is gonna be one of my new favorite things to use when I come in from the craft cottage or I get off from a long day of making people's hair look beautiful. Yeah, this is great. Okay, so I'll see y'all back out in the craft cottage as soon as I get tired of this. It might be a while. Highly recommend, 10 out of 10.
Okay, here are the next two globes that we're going to be using. And let's use this one first. This one was very unique. It's got a really nice smooth finish. I'm not even going to paint them. I didn't paint any of them in this video today. But I've got these beautiful floral transfers, you know, spring colors, because I'm yearning for spring already. This is the St. Germain IOD transfer pack, and there are some beautiful, beautiful, almost watercolor looking transfers in here. I'm going to just make some relief cuts because I'm working on a cylinder round project. So I'm just going to peel it off the backing, and I'm going to lay it down gently exactly where I want it, because you can't pick it up and place it again, because some of that transfer will already start to stick to your project. Now I'm just going to take the little tool that's provided and just rub, 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 rub. And sometimes when there are these tiny little flowers and tiny little leaves, you just have to take your time and go little by little and peel up that carrier sheet, rub a little bit, pick up the carrier sheet, rub a little bit. And that's what I did for this whole transfer piece. And when it comes off, you're going to see how beautiful it actually is. It just boggles my mind every time I do one of these at how beautiful that these transfer and how beautiful that they look. I get all my IOD and DIY products from Sammy over at unicorndustdesigns.com. So if you are looking for something that's like that, just go on over to her website. It'll be linked in the description box below. So this is what this one looks like, and then you want to burnish it a little bit, very gently, and yeah, that just gets all the little stickies off. Now I went ahead and did all of those pieces all the way around. I just didn't want to show you all of them. Now this was a little foot bun for a piece of furniture, and I'm going to use the Sweet Pickins Artichoke Milk Paint. I'm going to mix equal parts paint and warm water in this little tiny cup, because I need just a tiny little bit. And then once I get it mixed up once I get it good and mixed up, let me get my words out, I'm going to set it aside. And then I did spray paint this with some brown spray paint. And then I'm going, just because the surface was extremely slick, I wasn't sure how this was going to paint. So I did do 2 coats of the artichoke, letting it dry in between each coat, and look at the crackle. Look how beautiful this is. Now I'm going to take the Grunge Gray wax by Dixie Belle, and in circular motion, just like you see me doing here, I'm going to give it a pretty good thick coat of it. And then I'm just going to take my little piece of a soft t-shirt. I just cut up old t-shirts whenever we're gonna throw them away. Instead of throwing them away, we just cut them up and reuse them. And then I'm just gonna buff that off, and it just turns out so beautiful. Now I'm using that same dowel rod method, but I did have these little, I did find these little, I don't even know what they're called, but this is what they're for. They're for, that's the intended purpose, but I had a couple of those in my stash, so I used those. We're going to glue the globe to the top of that, And this project is complete. It just needs to dry. Quick and simple. Okay, on our last project, I have to apologize. This was a crusty, not rusty because it's wood, but it was a crusty, dirty piece of I wouldn't call it a spindle. It's more like part of I don't know what it is. I got it on Whatnot, but I just took dark wax and waxed it, and I mean, it is beautiful. I wish I would have gotten it on camera, I would have filmed it, but I think I thought I was recording and I wasn't. But anyway, it turned out really pretty. So I'm just going to glue that. This one is so super simple. And I didn't record that, putting that messy bow on there either. I don't know what was wrong with me this day, but I just took some strips of that canvas drop cloth and made one of those loopy messy bows. And now I'm going to make a little flower. Now, I'm probably not the best to show you this tutorial because I'm kind of all thumbs, but you just start a little cylinder and then you just twist and fold down, and then you have to glue the bottom of the fold. And I used to make fondant flowers like this too whenever I would when I made cakes, but you just keep twisting it and then fold it, twist it, fold it, twist it until you have it as big as you want. I just did it until I ran out. You can do this with ribbon, you can do it with burlap, you can do it with any kind of fabric. Just cut it in a strip, and yeah, you can make it out of ribbon, and it just makes a cute little embellishment. But I thought this would make a cute little like rag bow, and it would be very neutral along with the way that I'm trying to watch what I'm doing and talk at the same time, and I'm failing miserably. Okay, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. If anybody would like to have a slowed down, better tutorial of this, I would get some different ribbon or fabric that would make it easier to see what I'm doing. This is a little bit difficult to see what I'm doing here, but leave a comment down below and let me know. Or let me know if you know how to make these. If they're so easy, I'm really kind of making it look difficult here, but it's really just twist and turn and fold, twist and turn and fold. It's just not, and it's messy, so it doesn't even have to be perfect. But there we go. See, it's just twist and turn and fold. And I just, like I said, I just cut a strip of this canvas drop cloth and just went to town. But I'm sorry I did not get the other part of this on camera. I don't know what was wrong with me not recording. But anyway, I had this beautiful greenery in my stash. I don't even know where it came from, but it is so pretty. And I just thought it would just look so good against that canvas drop cloth and with that wood. So I just cut that one strand in half, and I want it to kind of drape. It's kind of a droopy, drapey, almost like a garland anyway. And then I just did the flower in the middle. And this one is complete.
I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and drop a comment down below and let me know which one of them was your favorite. Would you try to make some of these yourself? Let me know. Also, what did you think about the hand massager? It is amazing. It's gonna be a game changer for me. In fact, I'm gonna get off of here right now and go put my hand in it and let it massage my hands. But most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.